those last 4. So let's start with the Pac-12. Who do you got coming out of the Pac-12 this year?
Dave, I love Oregon. I love Bo Nix coming back. I mean, this is I don't know if I would consider. Yeah, Bo Nix. I don't know if I would consider him a dark horse Heisman contender because I think he's kind of in the spotlight a little bit. Very good player. You know how tough it is to win in Autzen. Their home field advantage is usually awesome. Now, I think it's in like week 2 or 3. They got to travel to Texas Tech to play a game. That's not going to be an easy game. That's an out-of-conference game, obviously. But they also host USC this year, which I think is just going to be a monumental game. And I don't think that Utah has what it takes to get back to the Pac-12 championship game. I see Oregon and USC playing in that Pac-12 championship game, going Oregon's way.
Yeah, and I think Dan Lanning is a really good coach, by the way.
And their defense,
right off the Georgia, right off the Kirby Smart tree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's that defensive coach, so.
Right, which the Pac-12 never has. So,
especially USC and Lincoln Riley, not known for defense out there.
So I'm gonna roll with USC and Lincoln Riley, and really it's because of one guy only. I think they'll score 100 points a game this year under Caleb Williams, which to me, I mean, this is no hot take. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks that we've seen in quite some time. I know people compare him to the next Pat Mahomes and stuff like that. Bottom line is he is a really, really good player, and in the Pac-12. I think that trip to Oregon is gonna be tough. I think the Pac-12 has got some teams. So like Brant, when it comes to Utah, like Kyle Whittingham, they scare me. They always do. Cam Rising, his quarterback, is returning. I think like most of his, or at least like his top 2 receivers, I believe, are returning. And they're not my pick. USC is my pick, but that's a team that's going to be in the thick of it. And then the last team is Washington. Michael Penix Jr. is also going to be in the Heisman race, and Washington, I mean, it seems like they never can quite get it done to like take that step, but they are, I think they're preseason ranked in like the top 10, so I mean the eyes are on them, and you've got those quarterbacks alone right there. It's going to be a good battle. But all right, so you've got Oregon, I've got USC. Let's move to the Big 12. Who do you got?
Dave, here's my dark horse team. Kind of like TCU last year. I see Texas Tech coming out, experienced quarterback coming back. I love their defense. I like their offense. I really do like that. Like I said, they host Oregon in week 2. That could be just a huge jumping off point for this team. On their schedule, they miss Oklahoma this year. That's a big miss, I feel like. And then they get TCU and Kansas State at home. Those are 2 huge games that you happen to draw at home. And you finish out the year by playing at Texas. And I mean, last game of the year, everything on the line. It could go either way type of game, I feel like. And even you could potentially see a rematch the next week. Texas for the Big 12 championship. So I like Texas Tech as my dark horse team this year to win the Big 12.
I like it. It's a bold take. I'm going to take Texas here. I think the Longhorns might finally take that step. Quinn Ewers when he was healthy, I mean, I think he was the number 1 recruit in that class, or at least the number 1 quarterback. Yeah. The mullet, all the stuff. But Quinn Ewers he's a good quarterback, and former Michigan commit Xavier Worthy is Tyreek Hill-esque type of wide receiver for him. I think they're dangerous. I think the energy in that program right now is, man, Austin is alive and well. I think, and I know they got a ton of hype too, because who's sitting behind Quinn Ewers? Arch Manning, right? Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of energy in this program right now. To me, they seem like they're poised to take that Michigan leap that they took in 2021. So I'm gonna go Texas here.
Dave, real quick, that trip to Alabama, could you imagine that jumping off point for this team? I know we'll get into that in a couple weeks.
I cannot wait. Yes, can't wait for that game.
What a great showcase game that's going to be.
Yep. All right, let's head to the Big Ten. Who do you have?
It's pretty easy for me. I think we've already talked about this, Dave. It's Michigan this year. They draw Ohio State at home, and I think that's just the biggest deal as of now. That trip to Happy Valley, though, Dave, I know is on all Michigan fans' minds. You get through that thing, and all of a sudden, it's looking like smooth sailing. Even though Ohio State still looms, it's like that seems like the biggest test that you're going to have before the Buckeyes. So I think they'll be geared up for that one. I think that this team is destined for 12-0. And I cringe saying that, Dave. You know how cringy we get saying 12-0 around here. But I think this team has what it takes. They're battle-tested. And, Dave, I think that Penn State poses a little bit more of a challenge than Ohio State right now just because we've seen a little more of Drew Aller than we have out of either Kyle McCord or Devin Brown. And I believe that Drew Aller, I think he's going to be that dude. And that's kind of scary. So I think the Nittany Lions actually give me a little more fear right now than the Buckeyes per se. But the Buckeyes are still a little soft. We got those question marks. Like, they still have to travel to Notre Dame and prove something to me. So until they prove something, I think Penn State's the biggest test.
Ooh, Ohio State's soft. Ooh. All right. Well,
I cannot be the first one who's ever said that.
No, you certainly are not. Yeah, I mean, it's a weak, easy take. I'm taking Michigan, but just a couple of quick thoughts on Michigan. I do think they're going to have a couple of hiccups this season. We kind of talked about it last episode, whether that's in Minnesota or Nebraska. I know you can focus on Penn State, Ohio State, maybe a Michigan State. Who knows? I mean, Mel Tucker is doing everything he can to get that program turned around. You just never know, and I think at the end of the day, what annoys people about Michigan, for those who hate Michigan, is just here's the hype, here's the arrogance. Michigan's number 2. Everybody's coming for your head. So I think that that's a dangerous spot to play in, where for the first time in the Jim Harbaugh era, they're going to be favored to win all 12 games, at least as it stands right now. And so the pressure is on in that sense. I don't love it. I'll still take Michigan to win just because, and this is nice to be able to say it, I think they're the most talented team that's poised to really do something big this year, really from top to bottom, and that includes Ohio State. So that's just how I feel, regardless if I was a Michigan fan. I think they've got even if you look nationwide and what people are saying, Michigan's got the talent to do this thing. Brant, ACC, who do you have this year?
I love Florida State. Pretty simple. Great quarterback play, great receivers. I mean, they're repping a receiver that's like 6'7" and can run like a 4.5, dude. Like, it's unbelievable. And Keon Coleman's obviously.
Yeah. I was just gonna say Keon Coleman's there. Jordan Travis, unbelievable.
He's not a dark horse Heisman. He's definitely a Heisman contender. And their toughest games, Dave. They go to Clemson in like week 4 or 5. And the ACC does the same thing that everyone else has pretty much done now, which the top 2 teams will play in the championship game. I could definitely see them getting a get-back game in the championship game and getting right and winning the ACC in that championship game against Clemson. They draw Florida at home, on the road, and Florida is trash. Florida is not a good program right now. And then I think they draw Miami at home, and that's going to be their other toughest game. So I think that they kind of run the ACC slate outside of that game in Death Valley. They go ahead and get that second game against Clemson. I think they win that one.
I like Florida State. They're my number 2 pick behind Clemson this year. I just feel like, Clemson's disappeared from the playoffs here these last couple of years, and it seemed like they're just every year it was going to be Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, whatever. I just feel like they've got a Cade Klubnik, however you say his name, Klubnik, who's going to be he's already been the name starter. And I think that, he's a former 5-star recruit. He's proved to be a good quarterback, especially at the end of the year when they needed him and sat down Ugalele, or he was hurt. I don't remember what happened, but he looked a lot better. You add in Will Shipley, who will be back, and I think Clemson is poised to get back on the map this year. I just don't see them going another year where we aren't hearing about Clemson football. So, take it or leave it. The SEC, Brant, and then let's hop into college football playoff predictions.
I don't love Georgia. I like Georgia. I'm not completely sold that they'll get there. I don't think we've ever played that drop before.
We have.
Have we?
Yeah.
No, I really just I don't love Georgia. I love their schedule. I love the way that it sets up for them. No real tough road games this year. I mean, they go to Auburn. They go to I think they go to Tennessee this year. That could be a tough game potentially, but I don't see them getting really into a dogfight maybe until the SEC championship game, whether it's going to be Bama or LSU. I just so happen to think it'll be LSU, a rematch from last year. And I could potentially see them losing that game, if I'm being honest. But I just will go. I'll roll with the champs for now, and I'll take them to win the SEC.
Me too.
Come on! I was hoping you would go out on a limb.
What was I supposed to say? Bama or LSU's kind of my dark horse, but
Bama doesn't have a quarterback.
They don't. You're right. It sounds like it's going to be Jaden Milroe. I don't know.
I guess.
But we don't know. Ohio State still doesn't have a quarterback, so who knows? I just honestly, dude, when you win back-to-back national championships, you earn the right for me to just say it's a layup. It's Georgia until somebody beats them. I mean, they have been the best brand of football that has existed in college football the last 2 seasons. So till Nick Saban proves otherwise, or Brian Kelly down at LSU goes and he's got Jaden Daniels as a stud quarterback, and LSU, he made a very good leap with that team in his first year from, I believe, when they were like 6-7 or something like that the year before. So they're on the rise, maybe. But once again, until somebody beats Georgia, I'm not budging off of them. So Brant, that leads us to our 4-team college. Last year of saying that 4-team college football playoff predictions. So who will be? Do you want to do seeding? You want to go 1 through 4?
I'll go 1 through 4, but why don't you go first?
Oh, okay. Number 1 seed. You ready?
Shocker.
Yeah, Georgia. I just once again until they get knocked off by somebody, Georgia. It's a layup. You?
I'm rolling with you, Georgia.
Okay. Number 2, you want me to give my number 2?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my number 2 is Michigan. I think I know that's boring because you look at the preseason rankings, and honestly, it's probably very unlikely this happens. These preseason rankings don't ever actually shake out this way, but I think Michigan is rightfully placed right now, and until Ohio State or somebody else says otherwise, it's going through the Big Ten's going through Michigan right now. So I like Michigan there for that second playoff spot. Really hoping, by the way, for a Michigan-Georgia national championship game. Really hoping for that.
Yeah, Dave, I'm with you on that. I'm going with Michigan as well in my 2 spot. I've got a 1-loss Michigan going into that, though.
Okay. The 1 loss is 2?
Yeah, TBD.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll see. All right. My number 3 seed, I'm going to go USC.
Okay.
I know. I just have this feeling that Caleb Williams is about to just have this spectacular season, second year with Lincoln Riley. I just can sense it. That's all. You can argue and look at their schedule and look how pitiful their defense is, like 123rd in the country pitiful, and make every argument why they won't be there, and I'll just nod my head and say, you're probably right. I just have this feeling that USC is going to make it there this year.
I'll take LSU and Brian Kelly. I do think they get to that SEC championship. Now, they are going to have a couple feathers in their caps, I believe, by the time they get there. I believe that they can beat Florida State, and then I believe that they can take care of Alabama, lose to Georgia. That's how I see their season playing out, and they'll be the 3 seed.
Yeah, I like the LSU pick. I'm not far off of them. Number 4, just because I'm feeling dicey, and I don't want to say Clemson, and I don't want to say Alabama, so I'm rolling with the Longhorns, baby.
Oh, okay.
I think Texas, out of the Big 12, is going to land themselves their first playoff spot, and I am all aboard the Quinn Ewers train.
Is that that must be a one-loss Texas team?
One lot has to be out of the Big 12.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so anyway.
No, I agree with you. One-loss Texas. I am going to shock the world here. I've got the first 2-loss team going into the playoff. Give me the Seminoles. I think that.
Whoa.
I think the ACC champion. I think they get back. I think they'll beat Clemson, who will be 11-1 or whatever. They'll win the ACC. I think you'll have a bunch of 2-loss teams. I think Texas could very well be one of those 2-loss teams. I feel like there's going to be like 3 teams from the Pac-12 that'll have 2 losses. Notre Dame might have 2 losses. Ohio State could very well have 2 losses. Penn State could have 2 losses. I mean, it's just there's going to be a lot of 2-loss teams that I think are going to be vying for that last spot, which will then light the fire for 24, which everybody will want the 12 team. Absolutely. Give me all the 2-loss teams.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, love it. Love it, love it.
I love it, too.
All right, good. I like it. Predictions are in. The beauty of making a podcast is they're out there for everybody to always come back and make fun of you about how wrong you were. So I'm looking forward to that. Brant, let's wrap up just a couple of minutes here. Give us our first best bets of season 3. We've got a few college football games. Kick it over to you.
All right, Dave. Phew. And thus we begin anew. So Navy Notre Dame, that takes place over in Ireland. I don't know why college football has felt the need to take their games to Ireland of all places, but I'm here for it. Whatever. Notre Dame laying 20.5. New quarterback Sam Hartman. They are looking to light up the scoreboard. New offensive coordinator. We'll see what they got. What do you like, Dave?
I'm going to take Navy plus 20.5 points. I don't know anything about Navy's team. I know everything that you know about Notre Dame's team you just mentioned, but Navy is just a weird team to play, and they will keep it. It may be close to that, but they're going to be in this game, especially against Notre Dame.
You know what I love,
you?
Dave, is when you play like an academy school, you're right. I mean, it is just a clock grind. It's hard to run up points. They keep the ball from you. However, give me Notre Dame. They'll cover. I like Hartman's arm. I mean, he is going to be bombing the ball all over the place. I know that. So give me Notre Dame to cover. All right, Dave. Another highlight game here. The Rainbow Warriors traveling to Nashville to take on Vandy. Vandy favored by 17.5 against a really bad Hawaii team that we saw last year, up close and personal as Michigan played them. Vandy, their win total is like 3.5, but they're an SEC school nonetheless. 17.5, Dave, what do you like?
I'm going to take Vandy with the 17.5, and this is just do I know anything about either of these teams? Not really. Did I watch Hawaii last year look like one of the worst college football teams I've ever seen and ensure that JJ was the future starting quarterback at Michigan? Yes. So I think Hawaii is that bad, and Vandy hopefully is good enough being an SEC team to cover 17.5. What about you?
Man, Hawaii was really bad, Dave. I mean, it looked like FCS. I think I've seen better FCS schools. Let's put it that way. Like, that was really bad last year. Vandy's a little bit on the rise. They won like 2 or 3 SEC games last year. They beat Florida. I'll take it. I'll take them to cover the 17.5 as well.
Okay.
All right, San Jose State at USC. This is the game I'm probably most looking forward to, Dave, mostly because of you-know-who, your boy, Caleb Williams. Number 1 draft selection probably next year. We all know. We get it. He paints his fingernails. I understand. They're favored by. It's a new age thing. I don't get it, but whatever. All right, so 30.5 points, Dave. Are they covering it at home?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you like that?
Oh, yeah. I think they've got a show to put on. They know it's week 0. They know everybody is going to be watching this game, although they wouldn't normally, most likely, during the actual football season. But this is the actual football season, week 0. So I think this is the start of the Caleb Williams Heisman train, and he's not going to play the whole game, but I think they put up a boatload of points. I'll take USC covering 30.5 points.
I'm rolling with you, Dave. That's 3 covers for me, so you know one of these is not going to hit. So I'll take USC on the cover too. It is something weird about they want to open, they want to throw it around, they want to score a bunch of points. They'll probably give up a decent amount if we know anything about a Lincoln Riley defense, but hopefully it's enough to cover the 30.5. And the lock of the week, Dave.
Oh, it's been a while.
Go ahead. No drop for this? I don't know.
The only drop I have is because the lock of the week was always
it was bad
9 times
last
out of
year.
10 incorrect. Yeah,
It was bad last year, but listen, the first half line of USC San Jose State is 16.5. I think that they come out and they just pour it on, Dave. I don't know about you, but I think they can cover 16.5 in the first half.
I like that bet. I think that's exactly what's going to happen, and that's going to be the half that Caleb Williams is actually playing. So yeah, I think I bet they're up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. Like it's going to be that type of game. I think maybe 21-3. Who knows?
You're on the lock, Dave. Let's go.
Yes, let's go. I like it. All right, cool. Well,